Fimbul is a comic book action-adventure game where you play as a Viking trying to prevent Ragnarok. It's a short narrative-driven single-player game, taking just over 2 hours to complete. The game is made up of segments of combat and moving through the map, as well as short comic-like scenes that take you through the story. As you progress through the game, you battle Vikings, trolls and Jotuns while searching for an artifact that can save Midgard. There are some story choices to make that have a small impact at the end of your game, which is a nice feature. The combat is fun once you get used to it, hacking and slashing your way through hordes of enemies with a variety of weapons and abilities at your disposal. There are fights towards the end of the game, however, that I started to get bored during because they dragged on just a bit too long. Visually, the game is quite unique. The minimalistic style works really well, and the comics used to tell the story have a great art style too. It made it worth getting through some of the more tedious combat to find out how the story ends. The music isn't particularly special, but it does its job at creating a good atmosphere for the game. It would be nice to see some variety in the setting, but the game is very short and has a narrative reason to be set in permanent winter, so this isn't a huge issue. What is a huge issue is the way the camera moves. Often when travelling down small paths, you can hardly see the player character, because the camera glides behind trees in the background. It's clear that this is meant to be a cinematic effect, but after a while it's just really annoying. Another problem with the camera movement is how easy it is to get turned around after a battle. Multiple times I wandered back the way I came after a fight or cutscene, because the camera had spun me around, and there's no waypoints or obvious markers to point you in the right direction. There are bugs here and there that make it seem like the game isn't quite finished. After the first boss fight, I was surprised at this graphical glitch that warped the dying Jotun around the screen. I also had problems with enemies getting stuck behind invisible walls, and occasionally not spawning until I'd run across the area, trying to figure out why the game wasn't progressing. Fimbul isn't perfect by any means, but if you're a fan of Norse mythology and are looking for a shorter title to pass some time, it might be worth the play.